And I would like to welcome everyone that has taken time out of their days to join us. This is the webinar titled Reporting to Get BPA Sales in the FAS Sales Reporting Portal. And today we'll be talking about the quarterly parent MAS contract sales reporting. So this training is going to be geared towards contractors that currently report sales quarterly on their MAS contract. This training will focus on the file upload feature inside the FAS sales reporting portal to report those to get sales on a quarterly basis using the template. And just another note, we're hosting two identical sessions. So we're doing one today and one on Thursday where we will cover the same material. So if you're here today, feel free to come back Thursday, but we will be doing a duplicate session of today. And just keep in mind, this session is being recorded, so that includes all of the chats and Q&As as well. If you're uncomfortable with that for any reason, you can simply watch the recording once it's posted to the GSA site later on. Also, we have a few options available to you at the bottom of your screen. So if you look, you'll see a Q&A and a chat box. My one request to everybody is that you use the Q&A pod to ask any questions that you might have. That makes sure that your questions are documented and recorded so that we can respond to them afterwards. We're going to do our best to save a little bit of time for Q&A, but we may not be able to get to any questions at all. However, we will respond to every question that we get in writing in the days following the event. All right, that's enough for me at this point. I will turn it over to our speaker and presenter, Mr. Derek Trouble.
Thanks so much, Robin. Welcome, everybody. I'm glad you were able to join us today. And as Robin said, we will be going through the sales reporting portal training in regards to quarterly contracts and your to-get BPA. Along with me today, I've got Don Marcus, who's the program manager for the FAS SRP. And again, myself, Derek Trouble, I'm the business owner for the FAS SRP. Going to be a lot of information today that we covered. The good thing about this is being recorded. You'll be able to come back to it later. There's the slides that we're going to have, and then also the Q&A. As Robin said earlier, please put that into the Q&A pod. We will try to get to those while we're on the call today. If not, your contracting offer will be sending those out once we've answered all of those questions as well, along with the recording and along with the slide deck, so you have that, because we're going to go over a lot of information. So during the course of the next hour, we're going to discuss the overarching FAS SRP guidance to get BPA file upload sales reporting. Don Marcus is going to perform a demo for the to get BPA sales into the FAS SRP based on you having a quarterly parent MAS contract. We'll be discussing sales adjustments, and then finally we'll be discussing IFF payment process. Overarching FAS SRP guidance. Remember, you can have multiple POCs on the contract, but they must be listed on that contract in one of the roles to be able to gain access into the FAS SRP. The authentication in the system is based on email address accuracy. So if your email address is incorrect, your contract's not going to show up. Your parent contracts in this format are either reporting quarterly or monthly. And in the briefing that we're in today, your parent contracts are quarterly reporting contracts, not transactional data reporting monthly contracts. Both contracts are going to display inside of the SRP under your one login, as long as you're listed on both of those contracts with the correct email address. So you'll see those. So you don't have to have a separate log on to be able to see your contracts inside of the SRP. Avoid reporting duplicate sales. Again, these sales are either going to be under the parent contract or your BPA contract. Now, there's identifiers for those. Your BPA SINs are going to have a BP at the end of those SIN numbers. Your regular MAS contract will not have that BP suffix at the end of the SIN numbers listed on your contract. File upload is going to be the only accepted submission process for the to get BPA program. So quarterly reporting contractors right now, which are the ones that are online, you currently go in and you basically do what's a file upload. All of your SIN numbers show up, you report your sales into there, submit it, calculate your IFF, and you pay that. You're going to have an additional step with your to get BPA. That is going to be uploaded through an Excel template where it has column headers, and which we'll get into. It has column headers and information in there that you're going to be plugging into that Excel template, and you're going to be uploading that using the file upload feature inside of the SRP. And that will be the only way. You will not be able to go in and do a form entry upload for your 2GIT BPA program. The 2GIT upload template has been designed specifically for this program because it has what we consider and call an extendable template, which goes out beyond column M into particular program requirements that are being asked for you to fill out and complete and submit on a monthly basis. If you're looking for any of the items which are located beyond column M inside of the template, your program office is going to be your subject matter experts for those additional reporting items. Anything prior or before column M is standard transactional data reporting columns, and anyone can pretty much answer the questions as to what's going to go into those fields. 2GIT BPA file upload. The 2GIT BPA contracts were awarded with a start date of March 31st, 2021. This means there are currently 2 reporting periods that need to be completed prior to May 30th of 2021. Remember, your 2GIT BPA is a monthly upload, so you're having to upload your sales on these contracts once a month. Now, your March 2021 reporting period, Don Marcus is going to walk you through a one-click solution to be able to report 0 sales. Again, the contract was awarded and shows in our system as awarded on March 31st, but the requirement also rolls up to where you have to report for March. Easiest way for your contract to report for March is going to be to log into the system, do the report 0 sales button, and submit that. That'll cover March. April 2021 reporting is also going to be due by May 30th. Here again, this is where you're going to need to report your actual sales to include 0. So remember, if you have your BPA and you're rolling along and you have a month where you don't have any sales, does not mean you don't have to report. You still have to report 0 sales once a month. And again, so in April, and again, we're in May now, so maybe you didn't have any sales in April either under your BPA. Again, you could use that same feature Don's going to demo later to show you where you can click report 0 sales and submit. Contractors with quarterly, and you can skip the contractors with monthly TDR parent contracts because you guys aren't one of them, but contractors with quarterly reporting parent contracts will have to report under each contract separately. So what does that mean? Your parent contract, you're going to go in once a quarter and you're going to report the sales on that the way that you've always done under your file upload, plug in the sales for your SINs or 0 and submit. But now, in addition to that, once a month, you're going to be going in, taking your 2GIT template, and you're going to be performing your file upload on that template so you can get that into the system once a month. 2GIT BPA file upload template contains 6 tabs. And I've got these separated out for just a couple of reasons here. The instruction tab. Please, please, please read this entire tab. It's going to be the first tab inside of the Excel document that you get. It gives you a guide on how to fill out the report data tab, which is the second data tab, which will have column headers in it for all the columns that you're going to need to fill out for your upload. You cannot alter this template and you cannot alter this Excel document. Please make note of that. If you alter the column headers, if you alter the document, if you alter the tabs, it will error out and you will not get it to upload. Now, the last 4 were provided by the program office, and they are to assist you in what to select to load into some of the columns. So there's 4 additional tabs, which you'll see on the Excel template, that were added by the program office. These last 4: Vantage, agency data, the VA station numbers, Air Force DODAX, and the contracting office codes, just to assist with your upload. Again, like I said earlier, and I can't stress this enough, do not alter the template in any way or it's going to fail to upload. Your 2GIT sales, again, reports must be uploaded monthly. Sales reports are loaded by the 30th day of each month for the previous month's sales. save these monthly uploads to a folder for your records. So once you have a successful upload in the system, make sure you just title that for that month that you uploaded it and save it. And the reason I say that is we'll talk later about adjusting the data or performing a sales adjustment. And it'll come in handy if you have the original upload information saved in an Excel so that you can grab that, change that data, and reload it. So the program office is going to provide the template to be used for the monthly uploads. Also, along with that, everyone knows about the vendor support center. They will also maintain a clean copy of the to-get template in case you have manipulated it in some way and you can't figure out what you did to it. Then you can reach directly out to vendor support. They'll be able to send you a clean template so that you can enter your data into that template and upload it. Now, with that right there, Don Marcus is now going to provide a to-get file upload demo based on the reporting frequency of your parent contract. And again, for this demo, it's going to be quarterly reporting parent contract. So with that, I'll stop sharing and turn it over to Don Marcus.
Hello, Don. I don't believe we can hear you.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me now, Robin?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. Thank you very much for attending today. My name is Don Marcus, and I am the program manager for the FAS Sales Reporting Portal to both report your monthly and quarterly needs. At this point, since each one of you are on a parent quarterly contract, I will be walking you through the FAS SRP in reference to how to upload your monthly contracts. Quarterly contracts cannot be uploaded in the FAS SRP. You will have to report your monthly 2 gig contract within the FAS SRP, and I will do my best to make this as painless as possible for you. So I am here in my test environment, and I am showing my home screen as I logged in as a contractor or vendor for GSA. I have my contracts here, I have my reporting frequency here, my last reported, and so on. Now, I have a quarterly and I have a monthly. My quarterly will be followed correctly like it has been for the longest time, but for my monthly, what I want to do is I want to point out a few factors here. I'm going to put in my monthly contract right here. I am going to the first rule that understanding is it has a start date, okay? So I want to point out that in reference to this contract, my start date would be for monthly reporting on 3/31, and this is going back to 2017. All of your contracts within the FAS SRP for your monthly reporting has a start date of 3/31 of 2021, okay? But it's the year's different, but I wanted to kind of like make this a little bit unique because I'm going to be using this contract over and over again as I do other training. So we understand that my contract is very similar to how yours is. So I'm going to go back to my home screen. And then what I want to do next is I want to go to my reporting. The very first thing I want to do is I want to show how to check your SINs that you're going to be reporting upon. Because the system validates the contract number and the SINs, that's the very first validation. So if you're trying to do a file upload and you don't have the SIN correct, if you're using a different SIN, it's automatically going to kick back and give you an error message. So I want to give you one of the simple points of how to make sure that the system, not your contract, but the system has the correct SIN underneath it. I've been informed that SIN 54151 BP that are on some of the contracts have not been loaded within our system, and Nicole will be reaching out to each of those contract holders after this to work through how to readjust in a later date, okay? But I want to be able to show in reference how to validate your SINs. So we're going to go reporting, we're going to go form entry. This is the same process of if you're going to report 0 sales. I'm going to put my contract number in here. Here's my contract number. And this is what my UI would look like, user interface would look like if I was going to report within the SRP. But again, like Derek informed you, that the program that you're with, you have to do the file upload. So first we have to check to make sure we have proper sends. So I'm just going to type in a task order number right there. And then right here, it drops on for service or products. So what I want to do is I want to look at my drop down, and these are all the sins underneath this particular contract that I would have, okay? If I tried to upload sin number 11122, I would get an error message because that sin is not on my contract. But you also, this is the products line, but in case you had a service, it might be something different. So you want to check both of these if you have both tables open when you go into your home page, okay? Or your reporting page for that particular time period. In addition here, for this particular contract, you cannot report in the future. So it's going to go to the very first reporting period that you need to report upon. So here we showed that the start date was 3/31/2017. How you report 0 sales for this particular time period is just come over here, click the oval. It asked me if I wanted to delete whatever information I had underneath, and I said yes. And then I would just press submit report. It would give me this language saying that for O&Ms, I can't have more than 1/3. I click it, I say yes, and it's going to tell me thank you for your submission. I go back to my home page. My contract was reported for monthly, my date time that it was done, and for the reporting period of what it was. Okay, so that is how, one, you check your SIN. Two, that is how you report 0 sales. So again, if you have a month in 3 months that you have to report 0 sales, you just go in there, click yes, you have to report 0 sales, and press submit, and you're done. You've done your recording. So now let's talk about the template itself. Here we have the instructions. Again, like Derek indicated, please do not remove any tabs underneath here because each tab has its own purpose and our system notes. The second, I would like to point out that the definitions were too gig.
Don, if
Yes.
you're sharing, we're not seeing the.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Page.
Okay. And are you seeing now?
Yeah, we're seeing it now.
Okay, so I apologize about that. Put your tabs underneath here. You need to make sure that none of them get removed because each one of them will be recorded within the SRP and there's a reason for it. Please read each and all these lines because this is your first time reporting and this is a lot of good information for you. In reference to additional data elements past M, you would come over here, click, and it would tell you each one and how to report and what they mean, okay? So this particular template will be your best friend. Again, the Vendor Support Center Help Desk has a copy of that. You just need to let them know that something happened to your 2GIT program template and they will email you a new one, or you can go back to the program office. The next tab I want to talk about is the Report Data tab, okay? And across from top, row 1, okay? Row 1 through row L are all TDR, okay? And I'm gonna go back, we have the contract/BPA number. Your BPA number is your contract number for the 2 gig. For our system, your BPA number that was assigned to you by 2GIT is your contract number that goes into column A. You have your order number, your PID in case you get a task order, delivery order, that's what would go there. Individuals will use invoice number if they get it. It's however the program office designates on how you put in that information into there. Then column C, you have your description of deliverable. and then you have your manufacturer name, manufacturer part number. Each one of them are required depending on if it's a service or product. Okay, if it's a service, service is only needed when it's got the asterisk up here. If it does not have an asterisk, all others for product will be filled in except for UPC, the Universal Product Code. That is the only optional field that we have for the products line. You have the manufacturer part number, you have your unit of measure, your quantity of items sold, your UPC. Again, this is the only optional field if it's a product. You have your SIN number, you have your price paid per unit and the total price, and then you have your non-federal entity. All additional data elements passed from M on over, the program office will be best to be able to provide you any information on those. So I've talked to you about the template. Again, the instructions for each one are underneath here. The program office would be the best to inform you on that. I'm going to stop sharing for a second so I can go ahead and bring up my portal again. And now we're going to attempt to do a file upload, okay? So on the home screen, we're going to go to file upload. Again, our contract number is 000R, it's a monthly, and we're going to report it for April of 2018. So file upload, okay? I want to bring up and go to the April of 2017. Okay, I'm going to browse for my template. And I'm going to do a happy path here in a minute. Okay, it's now been connected to my application. I am now going to upload it. It comes up again, wanting to me agree that my OLMs are no more than 33% of my products, of my sold products. I am now going to submit it. It's going to take a few minutes. All right. Thank you for your submission. And as you can see right here at the bottom, we're doing it for 04/30 of 2017, and it's in progress. Either you can go back to your home screen or you can press refresh. And as you can see, it's been submitted. Okay. I will talk to you in a minute about rejections. Okay. But we go back to our home screen. The file that I just uploaded was for monthly. I did it for today, 5/25 at 14:23, and then it was for April of 2017. So it only captures the most latest reporting period. As you know, I can't skip a reporting period within the FAS SRP. That goes for monthly and quarterly, and I have to go in sequence. All right. Now that's how you report. That's how you get that information. So my next item I want to point out is if you have errors. Okay, I'm not going to upload one and have errors because I already had errors, but I'm going to have to upload one without errors. Okay, so excuse me for a second. I'm going to get my template and I'm going to take a SIN number out. And what I would like to do now is I would like to try to upload this for my May of 2017. I took a SIN number out. I'm going to browse for the same template. And it should give me an error message when I upload it. There are 3 different validations within the FAS SRP for processing an Excel upload. As you can see, I'm in progress, and it gives me a rejected. Okay, I will tell you right now before I do anything, I took the SIN number out of row 2 of the SIN. And now what my information is going to tell me, I took this in row 2, the SIN number or CLIN is required. So I want to point out that there are 3 validations within the FAS SRP for the file upload. The first validation is the contract number and SIN. If the contract number is correct and then the SINs are all underneath that contract number, validation number 1 will be approved and moved to the second validation. The second validation will take the SIN and put the appropriate business system rule on, is it a product, is it a service, or is it both? If it's a product, certain data elements need to be filled out. If it's a service, certain data elements need to be filled out. And the same thing with the both. And then the final validation, if it passed validation 1, passed validation 2, the final validation will be price per by the quantity to equal your total amount, okay? Now, the system can't check the validation 3 until it fixes validation 1. So you have to have the 3 validations in there that need to go in that type of sequence, or it won't work properly. And we've had requests, why can't we have all 3 validations checked at one time? Well, if we have a contract number that doesn't show, if it isn't valid, we can't make sure the SIN and the product, all that information goes hand in hand. So that's the reason why we can't do all 3. You're going to do a file upload, you might have a contract number or SIN that is wrong, then you will try to upload it again, then you'll have a second validation failure, or you could have a second validation. That's why I want to walk you through, and once you figure it out the first couple times reporting, it's very simple as you move forward. Okay, so we've talked about how to report 0 sales. We've talked about how to report the, 0 sales. We talked about how to check your SIN numbers. We've talked about how to report the file upload. We've talked about the validation and the template. Now, I've done the loading of the template. Now, I want to show you another trick to, in case you have problems in the near future. Just say, hypothetically, you lost your template. Well, here, you can see that I've submitted this template here. I click my oval. If it hasn't been recorded, it won't show up, okay? So I click here, and then I can view my data. And then what I can do is I can download my template right here. And this is exactly the same template that I've uploaded. So if I need to do a sales adjustment, if I need to correct anything, this is what I've already reported. The system has recorded this by your contract number and all the information that you need for you to correct any information or do any resubmission at a later time. So we always ask you to keep your own copy in case something happens to the system. You'll have yours as primary and the system's as backup, okay? But the system keeps your file upload as you move forward for each and every single reporting period. So my final item I want to show is I want to show how to manage that, how to add supporting documentation if needed to. You might have an additional report to submit to the 2GIT program. It might be a variance report, it might be communications, monthly communications. So we've learned that emails sometimes get lost, sometimes that email gets put on the back burner. So what we've built within the system, that if you need to provide some additional documentation to the program office, you would come under the menu, again, under the menu, you would go under reporting, you would manage supporting documentation. So this feature works only when you've done a submission for a reporting period. So first you would have to select your contract. Okay, so we go with 00R. Now only the reporting periods that's been reported upon is what you can attach a document to. So for 0331, we're going to select that. And I'm going to browse for my document. I'm going to click this, and that's the document I want to provide. And I'm going to put March report for 2017. I'm going to upload it. It tells me thank you for my submission. And then here it is. It's cached here. Only the individuals that are listed on the contract are able to see this report. Not everybody within the system. Only the CS and PCO can see this report because that's the only two GSA users on that contract. As the provider of this documentation, we allow you to delete it as well if you want to delete it, if you accidentally upload something. So I wanted to point that out in case you have additional documentation. What I like to call this is my file cabinet, because it keeps all my information for my particular contract between me and my contracting officer at one place for both to be able to get to. So on that, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to turn it back over to Derek Tribble.
Don,
Yes,
could you
sir.
leave it pulled up for just a minute? We did have
Yes,
a
sir.
request, since we have time as well, to go back in and show the one-click button for 0 sales. Could you do
Okay.
that one more time?
Yes, I will. You can still see my screen, correct?
Yes.
So if I just received this contract and I started it and I had no sales for my last day of March, what I would do is I would come in under my menu, go to form entry. I would pull up my contract, my monthly contract. Oh, I can't do that. So 00R. All right. And I have 0 sales for May of 2017. I click in here and I just press submit report. As you can see, the yes is not there. I click the box agreeing to everything here and click yes. Okay. And now I've been reported my 0 sales for that month. And if you want to, you can go right into here and this keeps record of everything. And you can see I did my 0 sales for the month of May of 2017. Did that help out?
Thanks, Don. Yeah, glad you
You're
went through that again. Thank you.
And I'm going to turn this back over to Derek Tribble. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Don. Okay, so I've got my screen shared back again. We're going to talk about 2 other items, and then we will be done. Sales adjustments, or adjust your file upload, is what the drop-down menu inside of the system is called. So say you've had a successful upload under your 2-gig program, and a couple of months down the road, you find out that successful upload was an error based on you found an order you should have reported, or vice versa, you reported something under your 2-gig contract that did not need to be reported, and now you need to remove that. So how do you do that? We do that through an adjust file upload, what we call a sales adjustment. That's why we were talking earlier about the 2 ways to access your successful upload that you originally had. One is to pull it out of the system for that period of time, to where you go in, select that period, and you can download what you had uploaded. That's one way to do it. And then also is to maintain a copy of that successful template upload just on your own laptop or within your own company, however you want to maintain that. That way it makes it a lot easier to adjust this data. The sales adjustment process is a change to the original file upload. And again, you're going to use this through the adjust sale file upload feature inside of the SRP. The key here is to remember is this is not a delta change of what you originally had uploaded. And what I mean by that is you reported $100,000 worth of sales and you missed 1,000. When you do the file upload, the adjust sales file upload feature to do that sales adjustment, don't add that 1,000 only, right? you're going to add what you originally had, which was your 100,000 plus that additional 1,000 into whatever line or row it might go into. So it is a complete overwrite of your original submission. And it'll either result in a credit or a debt, right? In regards to your IFF. So if you go in, of course, and you add in $100,000 worth of sales and you process that file, that adjust sales file upload, it's going to produce an additional industrial funding fee payment that's going to need to be met. And then vice versa, if you go and remove, it's going to give you a credit, which can be used towards future sales uploads. And the system automatically does that. If you're under quarterly reporting right now, you probably have some sense of this. If you go in and do a sales adjustment, you remove sales, then you get a credit on your contract. When you report sales the next period, it automatically removes that credit amount from what you owe in additional IFF for that period. So if you've got quarterly and you've been around for a little while and you've made some sales adjustments, you've probably seen some of these type items happen. Last thing we're going to cover, since you guys already have parent contracts, you're already pretty much well aware of this. I want to go over it one more time just so you know kind of the limitations and validations that we have in regards to payments. So we currently support 4 pay.gov payment methods. One is credit cards. So you can pay via credit card up to $24,999.99. That is the limit for that. If paying through pay.gov, that's the limit. Debit cards. The system knows the difference between your credit card and your debit card. And this is something not a lot of people do know about. But if your company has a debit card, there's no limit on that IFF payment. You can go in there and pay $90,000, $100,000, $150,000 off of your debit card. And the system will realize that and allow it to go through where it will not allow a credit card payment to go through. It's the same selection as credit card. You're just entering the debit card number. ACH, there's no limit on ACH. Everybody knows this is the way the government pulls from your account, right? So the government's reaching in to your account. This is set up on the back end with our finance department, but the government goes in, takes that money out of your account. Some people like this feature, some people don't. Works well if you have extremely high amounts of IFF that are owed on contracts. We also offer PayPal, which has a $10,000 per day per contract limit. And the last feature, again, which I'm not sure if a lot of people know about, is what's called REX. Again, this happens through the back end. You would reach out to us. You could reach out to fassrp@gsa.gov, say you're interested in REX. We will send you over a package with POC out of our finance division. And this functions like your typical at-home bill pay, right? I think most of us probably all do that nowadays, where we go in and we pay our bills online through our bank or whatever the case might be, where we push money out. We push money out to the people that we owe, that we have a debt with, our electric company and things like that. And we say what we're going to pay them and what day we're going to pay them on. REX operates this way. So if you're interested in that, all you got to do is reach out. We'll get you in contact with the right people and they can get REX set up for you. Make a note, payments cannot be combined between your parent and your BPA. They're 2 standalone contracts. You've got your overarching mass contract, which has a contract number, which you report sales on a quarterly basis, rolled up at the SIN level, and you make your IFF payment towards that contract. Now you're going to have a new 2-GIT BPA contract, which is a transactional reporting contract, which you're going to upload your sales on a monthly basis. It has its own contract number, and you will remit IFF against that. That's why I mentioned earlier about being extremely careful not to mix your sales between the 2 contracts. If you do, then that's when there's going to be a lot of the using the sales adjust feature, where you have to go in and move some of those sales from one contract to another. It's going to throw off your IFF and all that kind of good stuff. So just pay attention to that. Under your 2-GIT program, so now we're talking to quarterly people right now. Your parent contract's quarterly, you report your sales on a quarterly basis, you pay your IFF on a quarterly basis. Things change a little bit under your 2GET BPA, because your 2GET BPA is a transactional data reporting contract that reports monthly. Now, with you uploading sales on a monthly basis, you have the option to pay the IFF on that contract monthly, if you so desire. If you do not, it is mandatory to be paid once a quarter, like your parent mass contract is. So you have that option. You can go in and report $100,000 of sales in May, and you can actually make that payment in May, or you can wait. But it is required once a quarter at the normal cycle that your IFF payments due on your parent contract. So just be aware and remember that. Now, last thing, and the most important, is reach out if you have questions. If it's general questions in regards to the SRP, the FAS SRP system, the way that it functions, the things inside of the system, you can always reach out at fassrp@gsa.gov. That is going to come to Don Marcus and myself and a couple of other people that are inside of that mailbox. If you have technical questions, if you're trying to get an Excel document to upload to report your May sales and you can't, and it's rejecting and you can't figure out why, these are technical side questions. Go to the vendor support center. They're going to try to assist you. If they can't, they're going to escalate that up to another tier, which is going to put you in contact, or that ticket is going to go over to the technical team for the SRP. They're going to then dig into what the issue is and be able to respond back out either to vendor support or directly to you to get that issue resolved along with vendor support so they can close that ticket. Final note, there is web-based training. I would highly recommend you go watch it. It's just tutorials on how to do a lot of the functions inside of the SRP. If you log into the home page, it's located in the upper right-hand side of the screen. If I'm not mistaken, it's upper right-hand side of the screen. You can click on it. There's a user guide, but then there's also little short video tutorials that walk you through exactly how to do some of these features. And with that said, that's it. I don't have anything else. I'd like to thank Don Marcus for